Welcome back. This is The Big Issue on TV3 New Day. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, you can join in the conversation as well on social media. The hashtag is TV3 New Day. We're streaming live on Facebook at TV3 Ghana, also on DSTV channel 279. And shortly, we'll get into the conversation for this morning. But let's take a look at the headlines. We'll start off with the Ghanaian Times. It says, demand for termination of appointment of new Ghana Education Service Director General. Pre-tertiary teachers abandon classrooms nationwide. It's interesting because yesterday our reporters were on the ground, and in some parts of the Ashanti region, some teachers defied the order by the teacher unions to not go to the classrooms. We'll come to that shortly. But Lateef assault case yet to commence after 5 years. That is on page 3. At COP27 summit, which is currently happening in Egypt, Ghana committed to increasing share of renewable energy, according to the president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And it says that private industries call for introduction of import license policy. Business and Financial Times, it says dairy imports hit $400 million as local demand soars amid untapped prospects. You find that story on page 3. What would be the reason? It's all in the Business and Financial Times. Also, the Ghana Alternative Exchange, GAX, poised for more listings as over 140 SMEs engage. Also in agriculture, it says poor irrigation increase in poverty among smallholder farmers, according to PFAG. And 39 new free zones companies to inject $230 million into economy as GFZA launches investment week. And you'll find that on page 3. The Daily Guide, it says NDC members endorsed Dufour for flag bearer. Well, some of them because at that point when he announced officially that he intends to lead the party into victory come 2024, I noticed that there were some other NDC members who had posted photos of former President John Dramani Mahama and, of course, indirectly declaring their support for him over Dr. Kwabena Dufour. There are some who are also supporting Dr. Kwabena Dufour. Very interesting race. Let's see how it goes. Renewable energy is priority, according to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That's on page 3. Opuni targets trial judge again, and Free Zones launches annual investment week. PIAC fires MPs over GSF capping. Let's move on now to the Daily Graphic. And there's a photo of the motorway. And just recently, Roland Walker was talking about how bad the motorway was and how he almost fell into a pothole, literally even fell into a pothole. There's a photo of the deep cracks on the motorway, and it says motorway deteriorates, patched portions rot away. There's supposed to be some upgrade of that road. What's happening to that? And of course, there are 2 photos of that you can see clearly on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Akufo-Addo, Sunak launch Forest and Climate Leaders Partnership. That is on page 20, and it's all at the COP27. And Sunak is the British Prime Minister, by the way. So be moderate in expenditure. Presby moderator to government. Regional Minister backtracks on Ramsar site demolitions. And yesterday he was speaking and said, well, yes, he did mention that they were going to pull down some buildings at the Ramsar sites, but he has not given that go-ahead. So if you see anyone there, under the pretense of his office, then he did not send them. Ghana committed to increasing share of renewable energy, President Akufo-Addo. And you'll find that in the Finder. Also, Akufo-Addo and Sunak launched Forest and Climate Leaders Partnership. And CD fall, rising cost, collapsing newspapers. Over 600% price increase of some inputs since January. And Access Bank builds capacity of SMEs to utilize digitalization. GMA wants medical school in each of the 16 regions. And finally, the Business Analyst, more doctors want to leave Ghana, survey reveals. And also value assets that protect investors. SEC directs market operators, and Data Bank dismisses panic withdrawal reports. John Dumelo launches Operation Feed Ourselves. Shortly, I will introduce you to our guest in the studio. We have 3 of them. At least for now, we have one who has just joined us. But let's quickly take a look at a story that was put together yesterday. Of course, we know that the teachers' unions, so the pre-tertiary teachers' unions, so the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAGRAT, and also CCT are currently on strike. And they want government, of course, to backtrack on the appointment of the Ghana Education Service Director General. And so they've been on strike for that. Yesterday was a lengthy discussion on that, and they did indicate that they were meeting the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations and also Ministry of Education to put forth their demand. It was quite inconclusive yesterday. We're told they'll meet later today. But let's take a look at that story. We'll come back and introduce our guests.
Certainly tomorrow when we meet, the outcome will be before you.
It says that your strike is not even biting.
Please, if it is not biting, why are we here?
There are those who have defied your orders and commands.
Please let us not muddy the waters. We are government representatives who are very responsible, listening to the side of the union leaders. So we are saying that, be rest assured, God willing, tomorrow 2 p.m. we'll come and then conclude the meeting.
Honorable, for the second time, you have failed to call the teachers to go back to work.
You see, when you say failed, it's a very strong word. We have not failed. If there are issues and you are discussing and you say failed, you're already preempting the outcome of it. We have not. We've, in fact, had another constructive meeting, which for me, tomorrow, God willing, you know, we have to do further consultations. They, on the other hand, says that, yes, they have other stakeholders beyond those who came here. So tomorrow, God willing, we will bring this matter to a very successful end.
Okay, I'm not teaching full-time. Okay, so as we all know, last term we had some strike action as on the cooler, and then it had an impact on the number of topics that we had to complete. As at now, we are still struggling to catch up. So this strike is also very important, but we still have to complete the syllabus. After the strike, the topics that we have not talked will still be there for us to complete. So I just came in the morning to engage them for some few minutes, and then we observe the strike.
And see what is going on. So we come, the children are here, so we can't leave them. So that's why we're here.
Is it possible from tomorrow you wouldn't be?
Well, maybe.
The strike is of no relevance. You know, how can I leave those peoples here because of appointment of Director General? Instead for you to, you know, mobilize and go to the government and fight for our needs. You know, even today I use 100 cedis to buy petrol. So tomorrow I'll buy another 100 cedis. Our standard of living is of no good. Are we okay? So there's no need for us to, you know, go on strike because of a common Director General. I don't see any meaningful about it.
There is strike here, but we don't know that there is strike or not. So please, we want you to tell the president that you have to tell that it's a strike or not. We are here, we are not, the teachers that have not teaching us, they are in the office. They are in the office. There are no teachers in the class. We are playing in the class. It will make us learning difficult for us.
We are just playing in class. We don't learn anything, and people are fooling around and buying something that they want. Now, and the teachers are in the office doing some of their work, but the students are just playing, no learn. They are not teaching us anything. I want the government to bring the teachers to the classroom so that we can learn and
And those are some students, pupils actually, in the Ashanti region, obviously appealing to the president and to government to find ways to agree on something, at least at the moment, so that their teachers can return to the classrooms. You heard from some of the teachers as well. Some, of course, very divided, because there are some who are saying that it was very unnecessary to embark on this strike, especially at this point when there are other matters concerning teachers that are yet to be addressed, which are even more important. And there are some who are saying, yes, it is important, but at the same time, we were on a strike for a long time. We had to come back and we're still behind the schedule. And so we cannot afford to go behind again. And so that's the situation now. But we know that the teacher unions are meeting government later today at 2 p.m. And so hopefully there will be a conclusion on this matter as to whether the newly appointed Director General of the Ghana Education Service will stay or leave. In the studios this morning, I have MP Alassane Suin. He's the MP for Tamale North. Alaji, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing? It's been a while I saw you.
Yes.
I've been away
I've
for a
been seeing
while.
you from a distance on the screens.
On the screens.
The
It's
day
good to
show
see you.
especially. I don't know how I always get to catch it.
Oh, nice. What do you think about it?
Great
Thank you
program.
very much.
Wish
I
all
see
the
you're wearing
best.
your poppy
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. You know, it's that time of the year again where we get to celebrate veterans, you know, all over the world. And I'm a proud, grandson of a veteran.
I see.
Yeah, my mom's dad served in the army.
Okay.
He's late now. And
Did you get to meet him?
Oh, yes. In fact, he was my best friend.
He wasn't too strict on you?
Well, he was very strict,
Yeah.
but he still had some hard love for his grandson, his first grandson, of course. So I went everywhere with him. Many people still, recognize me or remember me, with the kind of things I used to do with him. He was very loving, but yes, very strict. I mean, Corporal Saibu. You know, that's how everybody used to refer to him.
May he rest in peace.
Amen.
And to all veterans as well,
Yes,
whether alive or dead. Thank you for
Yes.
sacrificing.
So we all need to contribute to celebrate them wherever you may be. So that's why I got my, poppy this
It
morning.
matches your outfit too.
Thank you.
Stands out beautifully. And
Thank
I'm
you.
wearing mine
and
as
I can
well.
see yours too on your...
Yes, I am. I don't have any story of, any relations at all with regards to the military, but we'll all contribute. Yeah, definitely. But let's get into our conversation now, and later we're hoping that Davis Opoku Ansah, he's the MP for Empress OPK, will join us, and also Isaac Ofori, the President for All Teachers Alliance Ghana, so we can get into this, topic proper. But Alaji, what do you make of this situation? Again, another meeting, inconclusive, and they're saying that they'll meet later today. But we clearly see that there are some teachers who are saying it's not necessary to even embark on a strike over a matter as trivial as this.
Well, let me say good morning once again to our viewers and the very good people of the Tamale North constituency. It depends on where you stand. You will consider it trivial or not. I think that we need to understand that directives and progress or otherwise comes from the top, especially in GES. The hierarchy is so clear and there's respect for that authority. So we cannot, consider who is appointed to that position as trivial when it is going to relate to the welfare of teachers, welfare of students, and the progress or otherwise of, the whole educational system in the country. But it is perhaps turning out the way it is turning out, Bella, because of the situation that we live in as a people today.
Which is?
I know that we have a number of problems in various sectors of the economy, but I've reduced them to 3 E's. I call them the 3 E's.
Okay.
We are hit with a 3 E's crisis as a country.
What are the 3 E's?
Educational crisis, environmental crisis, economic crisis. If you look at our educational sector, it's simply in a mess. And what you see is only a manifestation of the level of mess and confusion that sector has been rocked with.
Are you not being unfair if you say it's in a complete mess? I mean, government will argue that free SHS has opened up the door for a lot of students or pupils to gain access to education. And so if you say complete mess, it looks as if then you're saying they have not achieved anything at all in the educational sector.
Free SHS is not a bad thing, but the way it is done has even contributed to the mess that I speak of. Free SHS in itself is not a bad thing, but the way it has been implemented, and it's not as if they were not cautioned, it has contributed to the level of the mess that I speak of. I mean, as we speak, teachers are not sure of the syllabus that they are even using. They are not sure of the timetable that is rolled out for students. They are not even sure of the, textbooks to use. Children themselves as we speak, do not know, how long they are doing in school, for example, when they are going back to school. You don't even have the teaching and learning materials. And that is even at the secondary school level.
The teachers do have a guide, by the way.
Well, they took them through some training.
Exactly.
And we're told that they will give them some guides. Many of them have not received those guides. In fact, textbooks, I'm told, after an attempt to change the syllabus, textbooks, I'm told, are now still being distributed after so many years. And yet we spent millions and millions of Ghana cedis to produce, past questions for students. I mean, how do you prioritize past questions over textbooks? But yes, that is the level of mess that we have embraced as far as our educational system is concerned. And that's even at the secondary level. It is worse, at the basic level. That is from primary to GHS. In fact, UNICEF and others have been complaining about the declining investments, at that sector. F-Cube is a pale shadow of itself today, because you are supposed to compulsorily, ensure that every child of school-going age is in school. Yet, schools are owed huge amounts of capitation grants, and their basic upkeep, it's nothing to write home about. You go to many basic schools today, students are either lying on their bellies or they are sitting under trees. Get Fund, that should be providing the necessary infrastructure, is hugely indebted to a tune of about 3 billion Ghana cedis. So we are in a crisis as far as education is concerned. And what you see is just a manifestation of part of those crises. I mean, if people are in a mess and they do not see their way clear, things that you do not expect to provoke them do. Like, and that is why some people, and that is why some people will consider disappointment as trivial. But when it is, you know about the tipping point, when it is added onto many other things, then it becomes intolerable.
So you're saying that the concern is not really about who has been appointed.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I haven't said that at all.
So what are you saying exactly?
I am saying that, first of all, it is not trivial. What the appointment is not trivial because it has a general impact on the output of education in this country. So such a person, critical thought must go into choosing who, occupies that office. So I'm not saying that it's not important.
Do you think there's critical thought in choosing Dr. Eric Nkansa? I mean, he was the technical advisor to the former education minister, Napo, and apparently to the current education minister as well. And his thoughts, we're told that he has about, 10 years of experience in the educational sector as well. He's a lecturer. Is that not enough?
You're talking about key stakeholders in education. In this case, 3 teacher unions. They can't all be wrong. They can't all be wrong about the reasons why they oppose the appointment of Dr. Nkansa.
Okay.
But the initial reaction, and that is another problem that we have faced, especially with regards to people who, work and represent this government. The initial reaction was ridiculing the concerns that the teachers raised. I mean, for example, I heard the minister himself at a public function, make reference to Dr. Nkansa and laughed about it and teased the teacher unions that said that, he was not a teacher, and made reference to the fact that, he taught some time before he left and that they got, kind of ridiculing the concerns that they raised, that they didn't get their facts right, they should go check their, how does a leader behave like that when you are faced with a decision that is opposed by your key stakeholders? But that's how the minister himself, reacted initially to the concerns of these teacher unions.
But now he's working hard enough to ensure that they reach a conclusion.
Is he?
Is he not? Is that not why they had the meetings yesterday and they will have
Well, activity does not necessarily lead to productivity. So if you find the man running up and down, it doesn't really mean that it is leading to any productivity.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because the meeting wouldn't have ended inconclusively yesterday.
But they said they had to push it forward to today, and so they are sure that based on how
And you
constructive the meeting was yesterday, they will reach an agreement
give no
today.
roses. You give no roses to a man who creates the problem in the first place when it could have been prevented. He doesn't deserve those roses. So it is his duty, first of all, to have ensured that extensive consultation was done before the appointment was done. And so if that was not done, and you are getting this, uprising from the teachers, it can only tell you about the level of incompetence of the person who should have made this decision. Because if extensive consultation was done, all these reasons for the opposition of Dr. Nkansa that are now coming up could have been addressed. And perhaps Dr. Nkansa would have still been appointed without this reaction you are getting from the teachers. Okay. Or you would have picked up enough, intelligence to advise the president, to make another appointment instead of Dr. Nkansa.
Okay.
But when you think that you are the repository of all knowledge and you have the power and authority to take decisions and people just have to kowtow to you, and when they even raise objections, your initial reaction is to show, your knowledge in ridiculing them, suggesting that they got their facts wrong, they should go back to the drawing board. The man really was a teacher before. That's not the way to resolve problems when it comes to decision making, especially a decision that has the level of impact as the Director of Education.
Let me jump on Zoom now. Mr. Isaac Ofori is joining us, and he is the president for the All Teachers Alliance Ghana. Good morning, sir. Mr. Ofori, can you hear us? Good morning.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you join us on the show this morning. Would you be partaking in the meeting today? Because yesterday, clearly, the teacher unions leaders had mentioned that there are other factions that need to join in this meeting, and that is why they had to move it to later today. Would you be taking part and representing your union as well?
No, please. We will not be taking part because we have no raised issue.
I can barely hear you. Your sound is very muffled.
We will not be taking part. We will not be, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's much better. You will not be taking part? Why?
No, we will not be part because we did not raise the concern. We did not raise the concern. Then we obviously are not comfortable with the strike action. You see, as the Honorable MP was trying to outline, the situations in the country are very dire. And so if all these things could trigger emotions, as he was trying to outline some of the challenges that face the teaching profession. We personally, as a teacher and also as an entire organizational alliance, we believe that at the backdrop of all these problems that we are facing as teachers, if we should invoke the highest order of industrial action, we should be able to come where we'll be able to use it to tackle some of the pertinent issues that confront the profession. He rightly said that the appointment is not trivial because it has a general impact on the teaching profession. Yes, I agree. The trivialization now comes when a lot of emotions have been pumped into the whole matter. He said that minister has to go to a function and say something that sounds like ridiculing of the teacher unions, and maybe that might have fueled their anger or their agitation. So all this thing aside, we actually believe that we could have used a more, social dialogue means of resolving the issue. When it broke out, it's entering into 1 month now when the issue started, popping up or coming up. So we could have done a very good work by trying to go to the minister and then tell him our concerns, so that the concerns will be taken up. Once the concerns are not taken up and the minister refuses to even listen to the teacher unions and all, then we all have a reason to believe that they are not ready to listen to us, and now we are going to strike. But none of these things actually came. So we believe that the strike action is very unpopular. at this time, looking at the reasons that have been outlined. And
Okay.
we are appealing to the other two institutions that they should look at the students. They are innocent in this matter. And
Okay.
then they should also look at the
I'll need you to reposition. I'm not sure if it's a laptop you're using or your phone, but we can barely even hear you. It's not as audible as we would want.
Can you hear me now?
Now it's much better. Okay, just your concluding bit, please.
Yeah, so what we are trying to say is that the matters are being resolved today. And so we don't want to speak into the nitty-gritty of the matter. We don't want to say anything that is going to, raise further emotions. But all that we are saying is that there are laws in this country, especially a law that, gives the president the power to appoint the director general. In these laws, there are no procedural, routine. Like nothing shows how the procedure that should be used to appoint the director general. So we are suggesting that after today's meeting, when the impasse is resolved, we are hoping that the laws in place, the Pre-Tertiary Act in place, they will take a second look at the Pre-Tertiary Act, put some amendment to it, and maybe they can put the procedure by which a person can be selected to become a director general.
Okay.
But as it stands, in Ghana Education Service, we have different components of the service. You know that in Ghana Education Service, it's not made up of only professional. Yes, I must say. If you go to Ghana Education Service, not only those who are in classroom, also the district directorate, including all the 260 something district directorate of education, and then the municipal directorate, including the headquarters. There are people there who work without education background, or who have ever taught before, but they have gone to acquire more technical skills or knowledge in a more maybe advanced field or a different field that is going to enhance their career development, other than maybe in the classroom. So we are saying that these matters could be resolved, and it shouldn't lead to the point where over 8 million school children are going to suffer because of emotions or because of maybe a moral dissentiment. I believe that we can do better than this. So going forward.
Okay, so that means you don't think that the argument that Dr. Eric Nkansa does not have that 1 year professional status to be, of course, a professional teacher, that really does not hold water?
Yeah, you see, this argument, you see, on a fair note, if we want to be very fair, you see, for instance, somebody is being employed and the person has maybe BSc accounting or BBA something, then the person comes to teach. You are a teacher. You are, I would say, one of our own. We can't disown you. You are a teacher. You see? Then the person goes to do maybe 1 year, maybe postgraduate diploma, and he becomes a professional. That is with the teaching scheme of service. Collective. According to our scheme of service, if you before you can become professional, you need to get a professional background or certificate. That is our scheme of service. But when it comes to somebody, even somebody can teach from class 1 to SHS without even with a background in diploma, and if he's lucky, he's able to go through the promotion. He can go through the promotion up to the point of standard 1 or 2 or even more, without even necessarily getting an education, a higher education in MEd or something like that. It's not because even through the promotion alone, somebody can pass through, even with certificate A background, maybe diploma background, or just even a degree background. You can go to promotion again and again, and you can rise up to the rank of director 2 or something like that. So the argument of collective bargaining agreement or scheme of service, when you put it side by side with the Pre-Tertiary Act, it doesn't say anything of that sort.
But does it not stifle the growth of teachers then? Because teachers who have the qualification and are obviously aspiring for the highest office within their sector may not get that chance because then the president, per the Constitution, has that power to bring in anyone to head that institution, which is what they're fighting. Is that not a fair fight?
Oh, you see, there's no teacher. Let me tell you the truth. You see, the truth of the matter is that there is no teacher who can rise up automatically to the rank of director general. Even by the time that you say you are hoping to get to that point, there are a lot of teachers who are in closer to that director general position. 58, 55, they are getting to that. They are about to go on pension. So you can see it is not a position that is easily attained. That is why the appointment, they have made an act that stipulates how the appointment should be done. So if you go to the teaching field and you begin to examine the background of all the teachers, you realize that all those who have attained the rank of director 1, director 2, are people who are just nearing their pension. You won't get any young man at the age of 42 or 40 going nearing holding the directorate director 1 or director 2. It is not possible. Most of us.
So bring in someone from a different sector, because their argument is that Dr. Eric Nkansa has a banking background, and they don't see how you cannot appoint a banker to go and head the Ghana Medical Association, and yet you think that it's okay, or the National Health Insurance or something, and you think it's okay to bring a banker to come and head teachers at the Ghana Education Service.
You see, that's why I said from the beginning that in the Ghana Education Service, there are people with MSc Finance, people who have done masters in finance. They are still teaching because they are still looking for, let's say, other outlets just to consider weigh the two options, either leave or stay. So they are teaching. So in course of their teaching, if they get opportunity and maybe they do a part-time with maybe a rural bank or something like that, and the person is still in the classroom, and the person is lucky to be appointed by a president or a new government that has come, and he said that because he has MSc, masters in banking, and he didn't do anything related to what we call it, education, he cannot be appointed. You can see that it becomes very problematic. But let me show you this.
Okay.
You see, the appointment of the director general, according to the Great Tertiary Act, you see, section 19 and 20 is very clear. That is where I think the problem is coming from, to be frank with you. So if we want to make an argument with a scheme of service, it doesn't hold. I've told you clearly that if you want to say that the work of a director general, should be done by solely a teacher, you are not being fair to those who are also part of GES, who work at the education directory, who work at the headquarters, who even in their lifetime they have not been teachers before. But by means of opportunity, they have gotten to work with GES. So that is the argument now. So if we make it look like GES belong to only teachers, you see, then we cannot also include those who work at the education directory. When you go to, we have district Ghana Education Service Education Directory. There are people who work there. They are also part of the GES.
Okay.
We have non-professionals who are working also in GES. So if you put all these individuals together and make it like a cluster, and you want somebody to lead them, I think to be fair to all of them, you can choose to appoint somebody from any of these categories that I've mentioned, using a description that will make you know that this person, when I appoint, will be able to do the work for me.
Point noted.
If we make it look like all Ghana Education Service is made up of only teachers, only professional teachers, it means that we have not been fair.
So you think that these unions have an ulterior motive?
I will not say they have an ulterior motive.
Okay.
But the emotions that have been attached to this appointment and the morality that is coming in. And let me make this very pertinent point.
Briefly, please.
In GES, young people are not allowed to take part in decision making. Because you know what? Most of the teachers who have attained higher ranks are in their ages getting closer to pension. And you know, they look down upon young people. So young people in GES cannot actually exercise their franchise. I mean, freedom of speech. They can't contribute to decision making because they see you to be young, bully you. Yes, that kind of thing has existed in GES for a very long time.
You can say that for a fact.
It doesn't give room for young people to showcase.
Okay.
Again.
You can say that for a fact, that there's no young person there that's allowed to even take part in decision making at all.
Yeah, there's no young person. Just do your checks. There's no young person in the GES that has a rank of director. You can't get any person at the age of 40 or something like that is just that rank. Because even the one from one rank to the period from one rank to another is sometimes 7 years, 5 years. So if you are in a principal superintendent, you need about 7 steps for you to get to that one. 7 times 5.
That clearly is problematic.
5. That is 5 years.
Okay, but you are the president of the All Teachers Alliance Ghana. Have you achieved union status, and how many members do you have?
Yes, we have attained. This question is being asked, and sometimes I feel very much uncomfortable.
Why?
Because you have to do your checks from the Labor Department. They have all the list of the unions in Ghana, and once you write to them, they will tell you. Even because our name begins with All Teachers Alliance Ghana, you realize that our name will be first. Will be first on the list.
Okay.
So if we say we attained union status, I will feel like you are not being fair to us because we wouldn't get this opportunity.
How many members do you have? I mean, you are here now, so that's why I'm asking you. Maybe you can furnish us with the information. How many members do you have?
I said to the tune of 10,000.
10,000?
Yes, please.
To the tune of 10,000?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I see. We'll check on that. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. But anyway, our third guest is in the studios with us, OPK David Opoku-Ansah. He's the MP for Mpriso, and he joins us as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
You couldn't get here on time.
Yes.
No fuel?
Oh, I'm not too sure.
Oh, fuel prices have gone up, so maybe...
some heavy traffic along
the
Dummy Road.
Okay. But good to have you.
Thank you. I just want to apologize to our viewers and also to my colleague and yourself for coming in late. And, that is unusual of me. So
exactly. You're usually here very early, so apology accepted, by the way. But we're talking about the teacher union's strike and the fact that yesterday they had an inconclusive meeting with the Employment and Labor Relations Ministry and the Education Ministry. And they say that we will continue the conversation today. Yesterday, the Deputy Employment Minister said that it was a very constructive meeting. But of course, the union said that there had to be other factions needed to join the meeting later today. And so they had to wait and see if they can conclude today. But these teachers are saying, we do not want Dr. Eric Nkansa. He does not have that one-year professional certificate that qualifies him as a professional teacher. Kick him out and get us someone who really represents the teachers and is a professional teacher. Why is this taking so long? Because we have students who are appealing to the president now, saying that we only come to school to play because our teachers are on strike. That clearly is not fair to the students.
Well, first of all, we need to look at the law that appoints the Director General of the Ghana Education Service. Just like the gentleman said, if you are to look at the Ghana Education Service, I mean, if I'm to use my district, we have a whole secretariat with staff in there, a director general or a director at the municipal level who is not a classroom teacher. Yes, he may be a qualified teacher, but certainly not be a classroom teacher. There are a lot of institutions in this country where people say that you call it political appointment, sort of. I mean, because these are persons coming in to champion the ideals and the thinking of a certain minister or a certain government. And so if somebody says that because he does not have a professional certificate and so cannot be a director general, on what basis are they advancing such an argument? Is it contained in the law? If it is, they need to quote the relevant sections of that law. If it is not, then it now becomes more of an emotional argument, sort of. That because we are teachers and you are appointing somebody to head the educational sector, it's important for you to appoint somebody from amongst us. That may be a valid emotional argument. I mean, and so if they advance him, I would understand. But you see, Dr. Nkanza is not really new to the educational sector.
Okay.
This is somebody who has taught at the secondary school level. This is somebody who has taught at the university level. He's been a lecturer for so many years. I mean, ever since Dr. Educhum became Minister for Education, this is somebody who has supported Educhum at his ministry.
Okay.
You understand? So please, this whole argument that he is not a professional teacher, for me, does not hold water.
But you need to write that one-year exam to get that certificate as a professional teacher.
Yes,
he doesn't have that.
He is not coming in as a teacher. He's coming in as a director. I mean, governments come. For instance, let me take a place like, let's say, Bui Power Authority. Government come. There's a whole establishment, Bui Power, with a deputy CEO and all of that. Government comes to appoint somebody who is aligned to a certain vision, who is coming there to manage the place to ensure a certain success. I mean, there are a lot of institutions in this country where people come and they appoint persons outside.
Why haven't we tried that with the Ghana Police Service then?
It can be done.
It can be done?
Yes. I mean, per
where
the
you
law.
appoint someone who has not gone through the ranks?
Yes, per the law. An IGP can be appointed outside the police service. But of course, just like I said, within the police rankings or within the police service, you have persons who are administrators. You have persons who are lawyers. So it becomes so easy. And of course,
but are they not all enrolled into the police institution?
No, I'm saying that. That's what I'm telling you, that if you look at how the police system is structured, there could be a government that would appoint an IGP outside the police service. There could be a government that comes to appoint an IGP who has gone on early retirement, who is on an early retirement.
From a different sector altogether?
No, yes, from a different sector.
How is that
somebody
going to be
with
possible?
a security background? That's what I'm saying, that it is possible, but just that within the structure, within the setup, you now have persons who you can easily appoint as IGPs because you have various backgrounds in there. Same can be advanced for the Ghana Education Service. But I'm saying that if you look at the law that establishes and the law that appoints, I'm not too clear. It's not too clear for me that the president or the minister cannot recommend somebody outside the Ghana Education Service. Professor Dwamankwa is a nice gentleman. He is a very good friend of mine. He was a lecturer at KNUST and was picked to be
head the GES.
To head the GES. So certainly, I mean, I'm not too sure he had the professional. He had written.
He did. He did actually.
But I'm saying
which is why the concern is he was not 60 yet. He had not even reached retirement. Why was he let off?
Are you sure about that?
Why was he let off? Exactly, and that's what the teacher unions are saying. Well,
I don't know about that. We need to find out. I think Prof was more.
He's not 60 yet.
Oh, okay, all right. But I'm saying that.
So that's why I'm asking that. Why did we have to let him go to bring someone, and now this person that has been appointed is causing mayhem?
The power to appoint, I think, resides with the president. He has a certain vision, and he needs somebody to be able to direct him. But I'm happy that, like Papa said, the Deputy Minister for Labour said, I mean, the meeting was very constructive, and I'm praying that they are able to come to a certain conclusion. I mean, we've had teachers, people who have moved from the classroom. For instance, Mustafa Hamid is the head of MPA today. He's a professional teacher, and he's heading National Petroleum Authority. So persons within the petroleum sector should rise up and say that because he is not being in the mainstream petroleum sector, we cannot let Mustafa Hamid be the head of the National Petroleum Authority.
Can you put a teacher with no medical background as head of the Ghana Health Service?
No, I'm saying that. I'm telling you that. Let's take Dr. Mustafa Hamid. Fine gentleman, is doing excellently well at MPA. This is somebody who has virtually done nothing in the petroleum sector. But today, he's performing so well at MPA. So let the impression not be created. I mean, we have persons who are teachers. Today they are heading large institutions in this country and all of that. If care is not taken, we'll now begin to set certain precedents that will not augur well for the forward movement of this country. I think the role of Dr. Nkansa will be to manage the institution as a whole. He is not coming in as a teacher to go stand in a classroom and teach, and for that matter, you would require that he gets some professional background. But the point still remains that this is somebody who has taught as a teacher at the secondary school level.
The unions say that is not enough, which is what they keep saying, and
mean,
they say you're not listening to them because
I think
that is not enough.
Everybody must drop their interest, and let's look at what is good for teachers of this country.
Are you dropping your interest on the side of government?
But I'm saying that let's look at what is good for the interest of our teachers. I have communities in my constituency. Yesterday, I had a call from an assemblyman in Atobikrom telling me that in the whole town, he has only 2 teachers. I'm looking for somebody who will come in there and appoint more teachers to ensure that people get to these villages and support the educational services there. And that's what I am looking for. Somebody who is coming in to appoint more teachers, somebody who is coming in to improve on the lots of teachers. I mean, every day we hear that if somebody is a teacher in Canada, your conditions are far better than most professions in this country. But in Ghana, that is not the case. I mean, you have teachers who are posted to communities, and if you see them, these are amazed that you sat in the same school with and all of that. When you see them, it becomes a bit worrying. So I am looking for a director general who is coming in to better the lots of teachers, to ensure that they are well motivated enough to deliver on the job that they
and that's what Dr. Eric Nkansa brings on board, even though the teachers don't agree.
He has not
with
started, but that is what I am looking at, not necessarily as to who gets to be appointed. If they think that per his qualification is not per what he has on his CV is not qualified, I think I mean, but let us not be emotional about this.
Are we being emotional? Actually, let me bring you in at this point.
You know, I think that a lot of discussants seem to get what is at play wrong. First of all, well, I told you that this has to be discussed within the context of the mess that has engulfed this country in the area of environment, economics, and education in general. And so emotions are that high, and things that may have been tolerable are no longer, tolerable. Aside that point, there's also the issue of understanding how the GES works. And you have asked the questions, correctly, but perhaps it doesn't even come home, the way it should. If you go to the Ghana Health Service, the Ghana Health Service is not made up of only health professionals, like my brother was trying to suggest with GES. If you go to the Ghana Health Service, it's not made up of only nurses, doctors, it's not made up of only health professionals. They're actually accountants, there are other, skilled, professionals. But nobody is going to appoint any of those other professionals to become the head of Ghana Health Service. They have their termination point when it comes to, the levels that they can graduate to. I mean, they can be promoted to. The same with the military. If you go to the armed forces, it's not made up of only soldiers. There are even medical, professionals and all of that under the military. But nobody is going to appoint them to become the CDS of the Ghana Armed Forces. It is the same argument that professionals are, making in the case of who becomes a Director General of GES. In GES or under GES, you have professional teachers and you also have non-professional teachers. Are you getting it? There are teachers who are not professional teachers because they have not gone through the mill of, classroom teaching skills. That, I mean, there are courses that are done for professional teachers.
Yeah.
They have not done those courses.
So for such persons, do they have?
Hold on,
coming
Obi,
here.
please
Just-
hold on.
just- just- no,
Please hold on. Let him make his point,
Let me
please.
make my point. So there are professionals and there are non-professional teachers within GES. Now, the argument that the professional teachers are making is that this is our field. We have accommodated and made room for non-professional teachers. But those non-professional teachers cannot be directors when we have other qualified professional teachers. Because when you do that, you'll be demotivating people from becoming professional teachers. Are you getting the point?
Yeah.
So they are saying that people may be teaching, like if you talk about Dr. Mustafa Ina, they are non-professional teachers. But some people have dedicated themselves. They have dedicated themselves to the teaching profession, have gone through all the courses that makes them professional teachers, either graduates or non-graduates, either HND or certificate A or diploma. I mean, they are professional teachers. And the levels of graduation, you stay 4 years at every level, and not even 7 like my brother was saying. It's 4 years at every level. So if you look at the number of professional teachers today, the likes of Nat and others are asking that, are you saying that with the over 100,000 professional teachers that we have in this country, no one is qualified to be Director General? And you are considering a non-professional teacher. I mean, that is even if you want to give credit, I mean, if you want to agree with the argument that Dr. Nkansa may have thought. And I think it's legitimate. Because, look, this argument has been had in many sectors in this country. In fact, even in journalism, I remember we had those arguments as to whether a non-professional journalist could become Journalist of the Year. When Komla Dumo was, picked as a Journalist of the Year. So it is a very legitimate concern raised by these teacher groups. They are saying that we have dedicated ourselves and our lives to being professional teachers. We are equally qualified to become Director Generals. It is only perhaps when you don't find any amongst us that it may become tolerable for you to appoint a non-professional to be our director. If you don't do that, you'll be demotivating people from becoming professional teachers. And I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And again, let us not forget, like I said, that we are in an economic mess, an environmental mess, and an educational mess. That these teachers are not only on strike because of this appointment. In fact, I've listened to many of them. They have complained repeatedly about their car maintenance allowance. They have complained repeatedly about, certain things that are not going right as far as their remuneration and conditions of service is concerned. They have mentioned a number of them. And so this only, becomes the catalyst for them to raise all the issues that they have had with this system for a very long time. And for me, I think that the problem once again is with the way that we treat disagreements with us when we are in power, especially with this government. I told you about the initial reaction. That didn't help. That sought to, ridicule the concerns and trivialize the concerns. And you still find some people who make the argument to trivialize the concerns of these professional teachers. And I'm saying that is not the way to go.
Okay.
It is my hope that the meetings that have, finally started will be, will lead to some conclusive positions that will resolve the impasse and also allow for teachers to return to the classroom. Because it is sad that these poor children and students who have nothing to do with this whole impasse have to suffer the consequences of the decision by the teachers to abstain from the classroom, which is also as a result of, in my view, the insensitivity and the, if you like, incompetence of the people who are responsible for this appointment. Because you see, at such levels, and especially when you know that Dr. Nkansa has worked, at the ministry for a very long time, you don't make that kind of appointment without extensive consultation with key stakeholders. But when you surprise them because you think you have authority, you have power, and you can do as you wish, they will also tell you by the way they are demonstrating today, that they are not slaves to your power, and that the power is equally shared. And so I think that all of this could have been prevented if we had better engagement. It is my hope that lessons, useful lessons, will be learned from this impasse, so that moving forward, there will be better collaboration and consultation with all key stakeholders in taking, key decisions.
Okay.
For example, one of the reasons why the teachers are striking is because of this introduction of a semester, system. That is also increasing tuition hours making it 40 minutes.
Yeah.
All of these things are done without consulting the teachers, because somebody thinks he is super knowledgeable and has the magic wand to do things in the educational sector. And the teachers are saying, we have been in this profession all these years, made sacrifices, and supported the system all this while. If there are, reforms that have to be introduced, they must be discussed thoroughly, and not just imposed.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll take a break at this point. We'll come back to this conversation. I'm hoping that we can even get into the Adwoa conversation as honorable Adwoa conversation. But let's hope that we have enough time for that. This is the big issue on TV3 New Day. When we get back, we'll continue.